Picture this. It's a typical workday at the office. A young employee in her early 20s notices the supply room is a complete disaster. Pens are scattered everywhere. Notebooks, they're buried in boxes. If anyone needed Post-its, good luck finding them. Organization is her gift. So she decides to fix the room. She spends the entire afternoon reorganizing everything. Pens are together. Notebooks, stacked. Labels are on the shelves. She's pretty proud of the improvements she's made. So she goes to show her boss, a woman in her 70s. And she expects just one thing, a thank you. Instead, the woman explodes. Criticism, anger. Then she points her finger an inch from the young lady's face and says, "Don't mess with my room ever again." The young lady reacts instantly. She slaps her boss's finger away and says, "Don't ever point your finger in my face again." And she storms out. Here we have two people, both turning the energy of the conversation up, when what was actually needed was for someone to turn it down. Could this conversation have gone any differently? Of course, but only if someone in that moment had used more emotional intelligence. And this raises a bigger question for all of us. Why is emotional intelligence so difficult to apply exactly when we need it the most? I'm a leadership coach now, but over my 25-year career in accounting and finance, I became fascinated by this question. Because leadership success isn't just about strategy and attaining goals. It's about how people experience us. At one company, I led a financial planning and analysis department, and over 9 years experienced 0% unwanted turnover, meaning I didn't lose any high performers. And it wasn't because the team didn't have conflict. We absolutely did, but because we learned how to navigate those moments differently. The more I studied emotional intelligence, the more I realized something surprising. Most people think improving emotional intelligence starts with awareness, understanding ourselves and understanding others. And that's true. But awareness alone doesn't change behavior. If it did, none of us would ever send an email we regret. Awareness, it's helpful, but it's not the whole story. There's another force shaping how emotional intelligence shows up in our lives. It's something every person in this room already carries. That force is power. When most hear the word power, they think of hierarchy, titles, authority, decision-making control. But there's another kind of power that shows up in every interaction. Perceived power. Perceived power, it's not granted by a title. It emerges in how we show up. Our tone, our body language, how much space we take in a conversation. Power shapes culture far more than we realize. And the difficult truth is this: those we lead, they learn how to use their power by watching us. And this brings me to the most important insight I've learned about leadership. Power is not a switch. It's a dial. Sometimes it needs to be turned up. Sometimes it needs to be turned down. And that invisible dial is often the force shaping how our emotional intelligence is experienced by others. Remember that supply room story? The young lady who slaps the finger away? That was me. I was 20 years old. My boss, she had the title, she had the authority, she had actual power. But what neither of us understood that day was something much bigger than our emotions going haywire. Neither of us understood the power we were bringing into that moment. And conversations like this happen every day in workplaces around the world. Not because people are bad leaders, but because no one ever taught us something incredibly simple. That the power we bring into a room, it's adjustable. Think of a conversation in your life that went sideways. You've all had one, at least one. Now imagine you could go back. Same room, same people, same moment. But this time, you understand the power you're bringing into it. Would you turn your dial up, or would you turn it down? The most effective leaders aren't the loudest. They are the ones who know how to adjust their power.